We started the tabulation process for the final numbers on the Republican primary to the second congressional district race that was concluded on Tuesday. So pursuant to the law, if nobody in a ranked choice election gets 50% plus one vote, we have to gather all the materials and bring them to Augusta. And
I mean, we haven't declared it, right, and won't now until
there was a lot of questions the day after the election because both Eric Rakey and Adrian Bennett conceded the race. Does that mean we don't do the ranked choices? Well, it doesn't really work that way. And I think the way in the analogy here is the question that we get periodically about absentee ballots, which is it true that we don't count absentee ballots unless it's a close election? Well, that's not true. We count every ballot in every election. Even if it's a 9-to-1 margin, you're going to make sure that you're going to have an accurate reflection of the tabulation of the vote. So, and because the law says that in these races we use ranked choice voting to determine the majority winner, we don't have a choice. We have to get that accurate reflected tabulation. So we have to go through this process. It takes some time, and we're in the process of gathering all the materials. We've begun processing today.
The other ones are all over.
The second CD is pretty big. It's the largest congressional district. This is the Mississippi River. The Courier is going to be bringing stuff in probably started yesterday afternoon. We got our last shipment about 10:15 last night. They're working today. Where some small towns get missed, we have our own
Lucy was
staff
looking at one race, I
deployed in the
can't
area
remember what it was. It
pick
looked
up
like it
some, or
was
they can double back and get those
less than 1.5%.
What we're doing when people vote, and the town that uses a tabulator machine, it's a product of election systems and software.
And I don't know, there
All
could
it
be
does
others
is
we
take a
haven't
picture of the
really
ballot.
had a chance to work
The software basically sorts out who won what races, the numbers, and it takes an image of the entire ballot.
Yeah,
What we're doing now is we're taking the hand count towns, those towns that don't have tabulators. We're scanning those in on a high-speed tabulator. We take the secure memory devices from the tabulators and like towns that use tabulator machines. And we put all the images into a closed-loop system. So that when we run the tabulation, it takes about a little less than a second to sort all the votes and eliminate the third place finisher, then redistribute the second choices until the final round, if you get someone who has 50% plus one vote. And that will determine who the actual winner is of the election.
Is there anything different from this year?
No, we're doing it exactly the same way as we did it before in 2018 when we first used it.
How much is this going to, I guess, cost to go through this extra step?
It's a bit of a movable feast that way on cost. The first year we did it, I think we spent somewhere in the order of, was it about $100,000, Julie? About $100,000.
But 30,000 was the server farm and the computers. That's a one-time cost.
That was a one-time cost, so it'll be somewhat less this time. The biggest cost drivers obviously are the courier to collect the materials, which, by the way, is a significantly lower cost than having law enforcement do it, because when state police retrieve ballots for us, for recounts, they only use off-duty troopers, and so they're being paid overtime. So this is a savings for us to do. And it's something that we just sort of discovered by accident. We weren't looking to find the cheapest way. When we were having difficulties figuring out how to get the ballots here, a suggestion came, like, why don't we talk to the bonded couriers? I thought they'd be far more expensive, but it actually turned out to be not only a very good deal, but they're a very secure system. So we worked out a whole chain of custody process where they sign for every ballot box they pick up. We know who's handled it. And then that's all brought here. And then as we rotate through, the ballots go back to the towns. We'll keep the memory devices because we can reprogram those for the fall. The way this works is they're cutting seals in ballot boxes and then open the padlocks or the master key. They sort the ballots, they feed them into the tabulator, return them to the ballot box, lock them again, and reseal them, and they'll be sent back to the towns for that's where they belong. So it's a laborious process, painstaking, but it maintains the security of the chain of custody of the ballots.
And we give a ballpark number for what it cost last time. What would you know how much this time without the initial cost?
About 75?
Well, the courier's about 31,000. It's a little difficult because the 850 lease, the high-speed scanner, is part of our whole lease for all our tabulating equipment across the state. So it's folded into that, but I think that was around 18,000.
Yeah, so it's significantly less than the first time. And then, of course, the staff, that's a sunk cost. We pay them anyway. It's just a matter of what we're assigning them to. So I think it's probably safe to say that somewhere in the order of $40,000 or $50,000 by the time we're done with it. So a lot less than the first time, because again, there's a lot of one-time costs. And also, it's just the second CD, it's in legislative races. It's not a statewide tabulation in a general election, which would be a significantly larger undertaking.
Going forward, because I know this is a different situation where both of the other candidates conceded, would you consider having lawmakers look into making some kind of adjustment if that happens again?
That's a policy decision of the legislature. You know, our job is to administer the law as they write it. You know, ranked choice voting is still very new. It was enacted by the voters in 2016. There was quite a tug of war about it, legally and legislatively. And there was an effort by the legislature because there were a lot of unanswered questions about the administration of it. The legislature, when they could finally find agreement, the agreement was to delay the implementation of ranked choice voting and then repeal it if you couldn't find the constitutional remedies to make it available for all races in every election. And that's a complex history, but that's where we were left. And then there was a people's veto of that legislation, which left us with about 100 days in March of 2018 to put this thing together and use it for the primary. And then we also applied it to the federal races in the general election of 2018. And now it's becoming more a part of the landscape. It's still controversial politically. Not everybody loves it. And there's a lot of different ways to run an election. And you know, there had been talk about some form of a runoff even when I was in the legislature, which is a long time ago now. But every state does it a little bit differently. Like in California, they have what they call a jungle primary, where the top two finishers, regardless of party, face off in the general elections. You could have 2 Democrats or 2 Republicans running against each other for the general election. In Louisiana, they do a straight runoff. If nobody gets a clear majority in the November election, they have a runoff in early January. So, you know, the elections administration is something that the states occupy the field of. So every state does it a little bit differently. There's no uniform federal law on the conduct of elections, even the elections for president. It's like the state law. So, in terms of going forward, getting back to your question, should the legislature look at this? I mean, that's up to them. We don't have a formed opinion about this. This is the first time we've been confronted with this situation where all the candidates, concede defeat. You know, that's something that was not anticipated by, by the people who wrote the ranked choice voting law. So until the legislature takes a look at that and says maybe we want to do something different, we're going to administer it. Anyone else?
With the margins where they are starting, do you expect any change? And do you stop counting once he hits 51?
No, because we have to count everything. So there's no sampling. So the way it works is you get everything in, and then say they're the first time Portland used this in their race for mayor, I think they had something like 11 candidates on the ballot. That was when Mike Brennan was elected mayor of Portland. And he led through every round, but you had to eliminate the lowest finishers